Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Armchair Booking Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host. My name is Steve Barber, that is. And joining me as my co-host is Dwaylen Davis.
Hey, everybody.
And it's rare for us to record 2 days in a row.
Yeah.
But we figured out that we had something possibly scheduled, didn't happen. It's like, yeah, you want to record anyway? Yeah. I mean,
we still got a few things we can talk about. So
yeah, some may seem like a repeat of yesterday's episode, but it's not because we're going more in depth.
Yeah, there's more things have come out. Like every day, more things have coming out about this particular topic. So
yeah, and I think it will until we see somebody on a TV somewhere.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I have not mentioned yet, because it's not wrestling, but because of where I live, it's been a huge topic around here, and that's the Bengals in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think about the game itself?
I thought it was a good game until the very end, where it seemed like every play the referee was throwing a flag. I'm not blaming anything on the refs.
Right.
I'm just saying it was a great game for like 58 minutes. There was hardly any calls. The guys were just, putting everything out there. And then the last 2 minutes, it's like every single play there was a flag. And it's like some calls, some calls were legit. Some I kind of questioned. There was a few ticky-tack calls that I don't think really should be called in a game of that magnitude. But overall, I thought it was a really good game. The Rams came to play. The Bengals came to play. Especially Bengals defense was stellar. Their offense took it took a few minutes, a little bit to get going, but their offense was on point. And I think they'll be back. Bengals are just too good not to get back. Especially if they keep that core team intact. I know you've got to make a few different moves to try to beef up your team, but keep your core unit intact on both sides of the ball. And I think that they will definitely make another run at it this next season.
And I think the first thing they need to do in the draft is say, all right, every offensive line player that's in the draft, get them.
Yes, because they've got to protect their quarterback, or he's going to end up. You texted me and told me this, and I completely agree. If they don't protect their quarterback, he's going to end up being like Andrew Luck, because too many times I saw guys on the Bengals offensive line missing their blocks and letting these guys get to the quarterback.
I actually didn't text you that, but I agree with it.
Oh, okay. I thought you did. Maybe it was somebody else, but
I did see somebody posted a meme that actually had that, and it would actually show a picture of Andrew Luck, him retiring really early because.
Yeah, I saw that the next day. So whoever did message me about that, you were absolutely right.
Oh yeah.
But because if they don't protect, and that kid's just 2 years into his career, so they've got to beef up the O-line so that they can protect him.
Think about, when they went against the Titans, he got sacked 9 times in one game, and they still won. If that says, they are a very, very good team.
Yeah. But he can't keep taking those hits every game.
No.
Before it starts taking a toll on him.
And some of the penalties, there was a lot of non-calls that honestly probably should have been called, like the face mask, and that would have been on the Bengals.
That would have been on the Bengals, yeah. When they scored the touchdown, yeah, he did grab the face mask.
Yeah, it was inadvertent, but it's still a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah. Now there was one that I disagreed with, to where it was a holding call. The guy made contact, like he reached out, barely touched the guy's waist, and then moved his hands. There was never any, interference as far as, there was no pass interference or nothing like that, but they called a holding call, and it's like he never held him. He just made contact.
I think what they were talking about, because at one point he barely had his jersey, but like you said, he let go as soon as. He didn't
even have a full grip. He just kind of laid his hand on the guy. And it's like, like instantly, like he knew, I can't, Yeah,
I snagged. It basically is like you snag something.
Yeah.
And then you realize it. But they did not call the Rams for offsides. I spotted that when it happened.
Yep.
They didn't call them for a false start. I spotted it when it happened.
Yeah, they called them for one false start, but they did it at least twice.
Oh, there was one of them, two of their guys false start on the same play.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's a false start.
And they didn't call it.
They didn't call it.
Yeah.
And
there was some questionable calls, but overall, I thought it was a really good game. It's probably one of the better Super Bowls that I've watched in the last few years.
Especially the last time the Rams were in the Super Bowl.
Oh, Lord.
That's the worst one I have ever. I mean, it actually set records for ineptitude because of the scoring.
Yeah.
I mean, it was bad. And I actually saw something today, and I'm pretty sure that you've probably seen it as well, or if you haven't, you probably will see it. Tom Brady's career was bookended by Rams Super Bowl wins. Yes. Which is wild.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So, you know, and I was like, wow, yeah, I guess it's true because, you know, the Rams beat the Titans, and then Tom Brady, his rookie year was the next year, and then the next year he went and beat the Rams.
Yep.
And it's like Patriots.
Yes.
You know, like what was it? 9 Super Bowls with the Patriots.
Yep.
You know, record 6-3. So I mean, they didn't win all of them.
No.
But you know, got beat twice by the Giants, and then also got beat by the Eagles, who they had beaten previously in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And then he retires, and the Rams win.
Yeah.
And and that's, to me, that's just crazy. And this actually says something about the Bengals organization now is a lot different than what it was even, you know, just 5 years ago when I cannot remember his name, the old coach they had. The one that would get them to the playoffs, could not win a playoff game.
Yeah. They'd have a stellar season and then get to the playoffs. I can't think of his name.
Well, a lot of his issue, and even diehard Bengals fans all said they loved him as a coach, but they said they had a discipline problem on the team.
Mm.
And part of that, the last time they were in the playoffs before this year was the one that they almost won. They had Pittsburgh beat. And then Javonte's Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It was a play where him and I think Pac-Man Jones was also involved in it, which as soon as you say Pac-Man Jones, you just go say, oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah.
But they got into, I mean, they were playing the Steelers, and they were playing in Cincinnati, and they got into first they had one penalty called for one thing, and then Javonte's reached around the referee to slap. Yep. And it's like,
yeah.
And it's like, well, you just put them in field goal range, there goes your game.
Mm-hmm.
But now, Jamar Chase today, it was either actually today or yesterday. Today it's just been raining, just stupid all day long. So
yeah, it's been doing that here too.
So this may not have been today, or maybe it was. Jamar Chase went to a Raising Cane's restaurant and was like actually working, serving people.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, so that says there's a huge difference, now.
Yeah.
Because you and I were talking to you before the show about company culture. That right there,
mm-hmm.
That's a huge difference. And so,
yeah.
So now they're getting involved with the community, because one of the things I actually heard somebody who actually had met Adam Jones, and they didn't have a lot of nice things to say about it.
Not a lot of people do. He's just, from what I understand, he's not a very likable person.
Right. He's like the Warrior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just great player, not a nice person.
Yeah.
But one of the things that people have said, and I'm not one to buy into conspiracy theories, just because, some of the main people we've seen posting conspiracy theories, one in particular, we just want to look at the dude and slap him.
Yeah.
Because we're like, dude, seriously, you're smarter than this.
Mm-hmm.
And we know how smart you are. Why,
Yeah.
But a lot of people are saying that, the referees, they had to help the Rams win. And I got to think about it. I was like, I honestly, I'm not saying that it is happening, but the Rams, Los Angeles, big, huge, the biggest market pretty much for entertainment there is.
And $1 billion stadium that was built.
And yes. The Bengals from Cincinnati, small market.
Yep.
They have chili.
Yep.
And, now granted, Cincinnati, God, I hate saying this, Cincinnati is a good sports town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For them, I mean, they love the Reds. They still love Pete Rose. And that's another one that actually, as far as a person goes, he's actually not a good person. I can tell you all sorts of things that I've heard from people who actually knew him.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Great play. Again, another one, great player, but not too nice of a guy.
Right. And the soccer team that's here now, FC Cincinnati, Football Club Cincinnati, they love them. You with the Bengals always laugh. I told somebody the other day, I was like, well, I said, every year right about now is when all the Bengals stuff would go on half price at Kroger. It's not this year. Now everything, they probably doubled the price.
Oh, yeah, probably.
And because a lot of times, and I'm not going to say there's a lot of fair weather fans. You didn't hear a lot of people talking about them because like, oh, Bengals, sure,
I do. I have a lot of respect for the diehard Bengals fans, the ones that have been with them through the extremely low times, before they got good again. And I always respect, fans of franchises like that. Because it's like that tells you that they are, they're going to support that team regardless. They're not just there for when they win.
Yep. And I can tell you at my church every Sunday, during football season, there's some people, no matter what the record is, they're going to be coming in wearing something Bengals.
Yep.
And, but even in Dollar General, when I left church this past Sunday, I had to stop at Dollar General to get a couple things. And people were in there, they say to the other, "Who day, who day?" And that's what I said. It's become like I am Groot.
Yeah.
They can't say anything else.
Yeah. I am Groot.
I am Groot. And they're like, yeah, you tell him. Yeah. I'm like, how do you know what he just said? But but it is pretty cool, so hopefully they rebuild for next year. I'm still a Raiders fan. You're still a Packers fan. I'm not going to abandon my team. But I will say, you know what? I mean, as long as we're not playing the Raiders, I will give them kind of a push. So
excuse me.
But anyway, back to the actual reason why we're here. That's wrestling. And want to go ahead and say, hey, if you ever want to email us about, your football opinions and anything else, it's to armchairbookingpodcast@gmail.com. You can also give us your opinions at facebook.com/armchairbookingpodcast, or you can give us a picture on Instagram at armchairbookingpodcast, because that's really all you can do on Instagram. It's just, you have to have a picture. You can't just make a post. You have to have a picture with it.
Yeah.
You can always tweet us at Booking Armchair, because we do that all the time. We're always doing tweets on the Twitter. And you can find us on TikTok, which, we've been getting videos up there trying to, I'm still getting used to TikTok, because for every 30-second video that I've posted, it's always like about the third or fourth one because I've screwed up. It's like, delete that one.
Yeah, it takes a little getting used to. Yeah.
Yeah. And, if you want to find us on audio platforms, if you're watching the video, if you want to find us on audio, just do a search. You can find us just about any kind of audio platform there is. If we're not on there, let us know, and we'll do what we can to get ourselves added. Yes, iHeartRadio, you still suck.
Yeah.
And I will say that until they get their issues fixed. And if you're not listening, if you're not watching on video, well, you can find us on YouTube. Just search for Armchair Booking Podcast. And if you're watching a video and you're seeing this, well, you already know we're there.
Yeah.
And if you enjoyed the intro music, we have Justin from the Jay and Trey podcast. He actually created that for us. Out of the goodness of his heart, he just wanted to help us out. Cool. And
that was really nice of them. Those are some great guys. We appreciate all their support.
Yep. And I'm actually missed their show today because I was working and I was like neck deep in Excel, trying to, because I'm an analyst, so I'm trying to analyze, something.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I'll get like just so focused on what I'm doing. I'll turn around and go, man, it's 1:00 and I haven't eaten lunch yet. But thankfully there's some restaurants that are they're within walking distance, and some within a pretty short driving distance.
That's good.
Yeah, because right there we have a Chipotle right there. We have We have Starbucks. I mean, you don't think of Starbucks as food, but I mean, they actually have, some food there. We have a Jimmy John's. We have, what is it? The smoothie. I can't think of the tropical smoothie is all right there. There's a Japanese place right there, which, man, they're good. And McDonald's right there, right across this one I'll drive to because it's across a 5-lane highway and I ain't walking across that. But we have a Chick-fil-A. Wow. Can't go wrong with Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
And that's one of the restaurants, even if they give me a wrong order, I'm just like, you know what? They know what's best for me.
Yeah, they know. Yeah.
So
they know what I needed. So.
Yep. So, but yeah, Jay and Trey, that'd be Justin, Jake, and Trey. I mean, yeah, they have just been absolutely wonderful to us, and the world just, we don't deserve the guys from the Jay and Trey podcast. That's gonna be their slogan. They probably won't put it on themselves, but that's gonna be our slogan for them. We don't deserve all the goodness that they do for everybody else. Right. So, and as always, we are being hosted by Blog Talk Radio. That's who I pay the money to. So that's who gets to host us.
Yep.
So I think I've gotten everything.
I think so.
All right, cool. So first thing we can talk about, we started talking about yesterday, but then more stuff has kind of come out, and a lot of it, I'll be honest with you, a lot of it just appears to be rumor and speculation. But might as well just say Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
I have not seen anything official saying that he's joining WWE, so I don't even know how much I really want to say about that because there's so many avenues he could take.
Yeah, it's just I still stick with what I said yesterday, though, that money was a huge contributing factor to him leaving AEW. And if he's trying to get a big money deal, WWE's got the most money to offer. Especially with Ring of Honor kind of in flux, Impact won't be able to pay him the kind of money that he wants.
No.
And even if New Japan could pay it or was willing to pay it, with everything going on with COVID and travel restrictions and everything, that's not the ideal place for him to go right now. I still believe that he'll go back to WWE, but the good thing about it is he has built himself into a world recognized star. So he's really holding all the cards that he doesn't need WWE. WWE needs him.
Yes. And one thing that kind of occurred to me, and this has kind of been brought up a little bit, I think there's also the issue of he wanted more booking control in AEW.
Yes, because when AEW first started, of course, Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega were all executive vice presidents. Mm-hmm. They all had a tremendous amount of booking power. And I think as it went on, Tony Khan realized that this needs to be streamlined because we've got too many cooks in the kitchen, so to speak. And I think he streamlined it very well. I think there needs to be that one person that things kind of go through, like for better or for worse in WWE, Vince McMahon is that filter. So
he has to give the stamp of approval.
Yeah, he has to give the stamp of approval. Just like, any other company, whoever's at the top gives their stamp of approval. And when you've got 4 high-profile wrestlers in executive positions with a lot of booking power, you always have that chance of them booking themselves as the highest priority. I'm not saying they did that. I'm just saying there's always a fear of that. And in the past, we've seen people, prominent wrestlers that were bookers, Dusty Rhodes comes to mind, God rest his soul, that booked themselves in the most prominent positions in the company, and it just becomes a conflict of interest. And I feel like, this is just me speculating as a fan, but I feel like Tony Khan realized that and kind of took that booking control for himself.
Can you read my notes?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you literally just, and I would tell, Joel, he and I did not talk about this before the show. But he pretty much said verbatim what I wrote down in my notes. I said, TK does not want wrestlers booking themselves because of conflict of interest. So, yeah, and that's it exactly, because Dusty Rhodes, Cody Rhodes' dad, he was notorious. Well, it's come out even more in the past couple of years, and everybody loved Dusty.
Yeah.
But they said when it came to the booking that he would put himself over wrestlers who were drawing more money.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they even had go ahead.
Flair did the same thing when Flair was Booker. Of course, with Flair usually drew the most money.
Yeah, Flair did usually draw the most money.
But as a booker, it's still a conflict of interest to put yourself ahead of everybody else.
Now, Flair has said that he's really not. He doesn't like booking because he doesn't have the attention span for it. So, especially if a woman walks by.
I was going to say, there's probably too many women walking past, and he saw a skirt and was like, oh, what about wrestling? Yeah, do whatever you want. I got to go.
Yeah. And it's actually been talked about on Arn Anderson's podcast and Tony Schiavone's, both of them with Conrad Thompson, of course, that they would have on their house show loop, and things were done a little bit different, back then, because you would have your enhancement matches on TV with the occasional, top, two top stars or two top tag teams going at it on TV.
Yeah.
The house shows is where the money was made. And you might have the very occasional, like super card, like a Starcade.
Yeah.
And this is before WrestleMania came in, which it still irks me. They say grandfather of it all because no, that was Starcade.
That was Starcade. Yeah.
But they had the A loop, the B loop, and the C loop. Well, the A card was Dusty, like Dusty and Magnum.
Mm-hmm.
The B loop was like the Rock and Roll Express. And in the C loop would have been like Jimmy Valiant,
right.
My boy.
Yeah.
Anyway, but something like that. And the A towns or the A loop was the ones they were supposed to be drawing the most money. The problem was the Rock and Rolls were like the hottest things at Sunburn at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were out drawing Dusty. And they were Dusty and Magnum could have been like in the Charlotte Coliseum, a huge place. The Rock and Rolls were in a smaller venue and we're still drawing more people.
Yeah, still drawing more people and drawing more money.
Right. And so Tony Khan, as much as what he's not, I mean, this is really his first, foray into the wrestling business is this. And so you would think, well, he's not a wrestler. He doesn't know what he's doing, but he's been a wrestling fan all his life.
Yep.
And not just hey, I liked him on the surface, like cheering for him. He really got into the business side of it.
Yeah, I'm sure he's done his research and talked to people, people that have been involved in the business and to understand how things need to be done. And from what I watch AEW every week, and for what I've seen, the booking has been, like I said, for the most part, it's been pretty solid. So
yeah,
I think his, him, taking the booking power and being the one that everything kind of funnels through, I think that's worked tremendously well for AEW.
Oh yeah. And, so I'm thinking maybe Cody wanted more booking control and Tony Khan said, I'm not going to have my wrestlers booking.
Yep.
And not the active wrestlers.
I think between losing booking power and not getting the money that he thought he was worth, and that's understandable. You got to, get what you think you're worth. But I think Tony Khan looked at it like there's going to be, WWE has a pattern of releasing wrestlers. There's going to be some top names that come available, and I'm going to need this money. I mean, they have unlimited resources, but so did WCW, and we see what happened there. So you don't want to just, even though you have unlimited resources, you don't want to burn through those resources, And so I think Tony Khan's looking at it like, I need to keep some money in reserve because there's still going to be people, that I want to sign eventually and bring them in. And then I think it just got to the point to where AEW's kind of moved on from Cody. Cody was extremely important at the beginning. Him, the Bucks, Omega, Tony Khan. They built this company literally from the ground up. But with the talent that they have, I think it's gotten to the point where Cody's not essential to the success of that company anymore, like he was at the beginning.
And you know what we were talking about yesterday also, Brandy Rhodes.
Yeah.
When there was this promo she cut a few weeks ago, or maybe like a month ago, and the whole time I'm just kind of sitting here like, what's she talking about? I mean, it was
all of her promos were that way. None of it made sense. And it's like, reports had come out the past couple of days that she wasn't well liked backstage, but then AEW wrestlers have come to her defense saying how, they did like her and she was very helpful and all that. So, there's always rumors about stuff, but I feel like, again, she was not essential to the success of AEW.
Oh, no, Brandy, not by a long shot. I mean, yeah.
She's also not essential to the success of Cody, because from what I understand from several sources that I've seen, Sports Illustrated, WrestleZone, PW Insider, everybody pretty much thinks it's a foregone conclusion that Cody's going to go to WWE. I think it's a foregone conclusion that's where he's going to go, because that's where the money's at.
That is where the money's at.
Yeah. But from what I understand, Brandy's not going with him. So I don't know I don't know if she's still going to be involved in wrestling or what she's going to do. But from what I've been seeing, Brandy's not going to be part of the package.
She might be staying at home taking care of their daughter.
Could be.
Which, I mean, I have no issue with that. I mean, at all.
Yeah, I don't have any issue with that. And she's got other things that she was doing.
Yeah.
It's, in addition to AEW. So she might have other, ventures going on. But I definitely think Cody's going to go back to WWE, but he's going to have way more say in how he's booked. He's smart. He's a smart enough businessman to not get himself booked to where he has to come out wearing polka dots like his daddy did.
Yeah, and I'm sort of thinking that I got to grab a prop for this. That he's going to show up, and Triple H is going to walk in the room and say, "So, about you destroying that throne up there, you want to explain to me what that's all about?"
He might, but Cody could shoot back at Triple H and be like, "Yeah, I broke the throne. What are you really going to do? Because apparently you don't have a whole lot of power anymore either." So
yeah,
Triple H has gotten demoted without officially being demoted. They just pretty much took all the power that he had within the company, seems to be gone.
I wonder if he did something to make Vince mad.
I don't know, because like that drastic change from Black and Gold to 2.0, and everybody that had any ties to Triple H getting fired. It's just like, did something happen at a Sunday dinner, or
Well, and I'm definitely not making an accusation on this. So please, if anybody, please don't contact the Levesque family and say this. But I've always said, if somebody will cheat with you, they'll cheat on you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to say it just like that. But honestly, at the same time, I actually can't see him.
No.
Yeah. Because I mean, there's a difference between like what 25-year-old Paul Levesque and 50-year-old
50-year-old Paul Levesque. Yeah.
So
but it'll be interesting to see what, how Cody's booked. I definitely see them getting this deal done so that he can be on the WrestleMania card.
Yeah. I mean, if it's happening, yeah.
Yeah. Because I can't see Vince McMahon passing this up, even just to be petty and been like, you've beaten us even though we don't want to admit that your competition, you definitely are. You beat us in the 18 to 49 demo every single week.
Every single week.
but we just signed one of your biggest stars and a former executive in your company.
Yeah.
Vince is not, nobody would pass that up. Not Vince McMahon, not Eric Bischoff, not Dusty, not Flair, not Bill Watts. Nobody with any kind of power in a company is going to pass that up, even if it's just to rub it in the competition's face.
Mm-hmm. And now let's just hope if Cody does end up going back to WWE, let's just hope for a couple things. First, they put him wearing a turtleneck, and I'm tired of looking at that tattoo. I really,
I don't mind the tattoo itself.
It's just how it just.
But not on the. I'm just not a neck. I'm not a. Some people neck tattoos work for, but it did not work for Cody.
No, it looks like a mistake. It looks like they accidentally put it there.
Yeah, he could have got that anywhere else, and I'd have been fine with it. But
if he'd have got on the back of his neck, hey, cool. But no, it's like it's just.
Yeah,
it looks like a bad smudge.
And it's not something you can hide, because even when he's got like a collared shirt on and like a suit jacket and everything,
it still comes out.
It's still sticking up out of the side, and it's like, it just looks like something's growing on the side of his, on his neck, and it's like,
exactly. And beyond that, let's hope they use him correctly, because there have been other people who've come back to WWE, and they were all hyped and everything. And then within a year, all of a sudden, they were wanting to leave again.
Yep. And Cody may have a clause put in his contract to been like, if I don't like how things are going, I can leave after a certain amount of time, because guys have had that put in contracts before. And but if he does come back, he needs to go to SmackDown, because they desperately need main event talent.
Which is really sad, because just a year ago they were the ones with all the talent. Now all of a sudden it's
then it's like they raided SmackDown with the draft and took all the main event talent, moved it to Raw, and then left Roman with nobody to fight. And it's like, that would be the promo work alone with Cody and Roman would definitely talk people into the building.
And as far as Brandy goes, if all of a sudden you see a masked female wrestler referring to herself as Chocolate MILF,
it's Brandy Rhodes.
It's Brandy Rhodes.
Yeah.
So I want to see that, actually.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah. That's not Brandy Rhodes. That's Chocolate MILF.
That would be something she'd do. That sounds like something she'd do too. That'd be funny.
And then Vince McMahon said, "What is MILF?"
Yeah. If you don't follow Brandy Rhodes on Twitter, you need to, because her Twitter is fantastic. So
yeah, her Twitter is great. Her promos in the ring are horrible, but on Twitter she's awesome.
Yeah, on Twitter she's awesome. It's like, can we take that energy but not everybody's a good promo person, though.
That's true.
Chris Benoit was one of the greatest wrestlers I've ever seen. Terrible promo.
Yeah.
Dean Malenko, one of the greatest wrestlers I've ever seen. Terrible promo. Some people have it and some people don't. But that's why I just don't like that people get judged. People get pushes based on how well they can talk on the microphone. And it's like, again, it doesn't say talking on the marquee. It says wrestling.
It says wrestling.
If they can get through the ropes and wrestle a great match, that's all I care about.
I mean, and I get it is a package. I mean, you do have to have all of it. You need to, as much as what you can. But that's why you have somebody like a Paul Heyman.
Exactly. That's why WWE needs to have managers. That's why you have an MVP for Bobby Lashley.
MVP is awesome.
That way Bobby Lashley gets to keep things short and sweet if he does talk. MVP does the heavy lifting.
I don't want to see MVP back in the ring, because I like him so much now as a manager.
I know, he's great.
I mean, yeah, and because he got injured, and that's the reason. Well, and he's just thrived in that role. So keep him as a manager. I mean, man, and there was, and speaking of Paul Heyman, did you see it was a fan made the video of the SmackDown? I guess it was like after the normal SmackDown show tapings, when he was about to go in the audience to fight a fan.
Yeah, he took his jacket off and everything. It's like, calm down. You're blown up after taking the jacket off. Calm down.
Oh yeah. I mean, and it was all in fun, but I mean, his face was just, And then he like Roman's hugging him. Come on, Paul.
Yeah, it's like,
You know,
calm
he's like,
down. It's okay.
I'm gonna have to watch that one again. That one,
Yeah.
it had me laughing so hard. And but one of the people who, you know, we're talking about, you know, Brandy coming back, maybe if she would have come back, I wouldn't want her to come back now, because right now this is something that you retweeted today, and I tweeted a reply to it, because we called this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we definitely did.
Yep.
Tegan Knox, follow her on Twitter also. Her Twitter's great. Tegan Knox tweeted earlier, and like Steve said, I retweeted it, that she feels like the WWE's women's division is going back to the days of the Divas. And I completely agree. Again, like Steve said, we talked about this months ago.
Mm-hmm.
If you are not, basically, if you're not Ronda Rousey or one of the four horsewomen, then you get no time, no character development, no championship opportunities, nothing like that. And I mean, I know Bianca Belair was on fire last year, but look how quickly that they burned her just because Becky came back.
It took 26 seconds to kill her push.
Yeah, it took 26 seconds. It took a year of her career to get to where she was at, and it took 26 seconds to kill all the progress that she had made. And that is just the thing. I mean, you've got Natalya stuck in this feud with Aaliyah, and it's not benefiting either one of them. Mm-hmm. You've got Naomi stuck in this feud with Sonya Deville that seemingly is not ever going to end.
I thought it had ended.
I thought it ended when Naomi beat her, but apparently not. And then you've got Ronda Rousey coming in and leapfrogging over every woman in the division to win the Rumble and get the championship match against Charlotte at Mania. Somebody who, honestly, I feel like does not want to be there.
Yeah.
Does not appreciate the position.
I agree.
And I feel like she does not appreciate the position that she's in. It's like you have put in literally a year worth of wrestling time. You have women that have been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years that have never gotten that opportunity. Tamina has been there for over a decade and has gotten, I think, one singles championship match. And I think it was against, two. I take that back. In over a decade, she's gotten two opportunities. She got a Divas championship match back when that was a thing. And then she got a women's title match, I think, against Bayley when Bayley was SmackDown Women's Champion. Other than that, no opportunities for her. Natalya has had two world title reigns her entire career. She's been in WWE probably 15 years now.
Yeah.
It's just you have all these women. Dana Brooke has been there for a decade.
Yep.
The only championship she's ever won is the 24/7 title.
The 24/7 title. Yeah, that's it.
Mandy Rose has been there for years. She had to go to NXT in order to win a championship. Never got that opportunity on the main roster. It's just, if you're not, we shouldn't count Bayley because Bayley's out injured. If you go by right now, if you're not Charlotte, Becky, or Sasha Banks, then they don't seem to care about the rest of the women's division. Everybody else is just get 2 or 3 minutes to do whatever. And when you have Shayna Baszler, who is honestly, in my opinion, the most complete female wrestler on that roster, when you have her doing absolutely nothing, that tells you all you need to know about their booking policy towards women.
And especially when Shayna Baszler is very, very legit.
Yes. I mean, she is very legit in MMA. She is very legit in professional wrestling. I mean, she is, trained in that catch as catch can style of wrestling. Josh Barnett trained her. Josh Barnett was trained by Billy Robinson. I mean, the skills are there. She is, and her character work is fantastic. She carries herself like a killer. She works in the ring like a killer. Like she has one goal, and that is to maim whoever is in the ring with her, which she can legitimately do.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't understand why she's not getting this push, but Ronda, who does not have the wrestling skill that Shayna Baszler does, because she's still basically a rookie. I mean, she only wrestled for a year
Yeah, it was a year
before she left, so she's basically still a rookie. And honestly, I think if you put Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler in a legit fight, Shayna's going to take that, because Ronda's proven in MMA, if she can get you on the mat and get the armbar, then you're done. But if she has to stand up with you, she can't. And I don't see that she's changed that MO, and I don't think she could hang with Shayna Baszler. Vince McMahon has said that he does not get what Shayna Baszler's gimmick is. How do you not, when you book, you have the exact same type of person
with Ronda Rousey.
challenging to both your world titles. She's Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
That's what she is. So why not push her?
They're even from the same state.
Exactly. I don't understand this. And it's like, you've got Becky doing the big time Bex thing, and I'm just not a fan, because the whole thing with the man was perfect, and they should have just kept going with that. Here's the thing. Flair's lawsuit is frivolous at best, because Flair said, to be the man, you got to beat the man. He didn't trademark any of that. So he has no claim to it. Flair's all about money. Write him a big enough check and he'll shut up. That's all they had to do.
Well, he'll shut up until he runs out of money.
Until he runs out of money. But by then, it's like you've already taken the settlement, so you don't get anything else. But Becky should have stayed the man. Charlotte, they act like they don't understand why people are booing Charlotte, because you pushed her to the moon. I mean, she's been on the main roster for, let me think, 6 or 7 years.
Well, I'm trying to think. We actually saw her in Cincinnati. It was on a house show. It was in December of 2014.
Okay, 2014. She's been on the roster for 8 years.
Yeah.
If you count NXT championship, she's a 2-time NXT champion. Let me look up just so I don't get
actually 7 years. She was still in NXT at the time.
Okay.
Because they brought her and some of the other NXT folks up, because they called it a Santa's little helper or Santa's elves match, and she was wearing these I don't know, like things around her feet. They look like they were red with like the white, like fringe or whatever. Yeah. And eventually, you could tell she was having issues trying to walk in them, because they kept sliding down. Eventually, she just kicked them off. She's like, "God, screw that."
Yeah.
Because it was a safety hazard. So about 7 years. I mean,
and in 7 years' time, she is a 2-time NXT Women's Champion, a 1-time Divas Champion. So we're already at 3 world titles. A 6-time Raw Women's Champion. So now we're at 9. A 6-time SmackDown Women's Champion. So we're at 15. Women's Tag Team Champion, and won the Royal Rumble.
Oh, yeah. And I wonder how much cumulative time she's had with those championships. Because I'm more impressed by the time with the belt, rather than, because you have to lose the belt that many times too.
Becky Lynch had a perfect line one time when they were having an in-ring promo, and Becky's told her, she's like, because Charlotte was talking about how many championship reigns she had, and Becky was like, "Your reigns are plentiful, but my reign is meaningful."
Yeah.
And that is legitimately the difference in wrestling. It's like, yes, okay, John Cena is a 16-time world champion, but how many of those reigns past the first one were meaningful? Because the first one, he held it for just a little over a year before he got injured and had to relinquish the title. But after that, how many of those reigns were actually meaningful? I mean, you could say the same thing for Flair toward the end of his career.
Towards the end, yeah.
Toward the end, how many of the reigns toward the end were meaningful? It's like, I'm more impressed with Roman Reigns' reign as Universal Champion than I would be if Roman lost the title, won the title, lost the title, won the title, over multiple months. He's held it for over 500 days. That's more impressive to me than hot shot in the title. That's why I like how AEW books their champions. But there's, they've been, the company's 3 years old and there's only been 4 world champions.
I mean, and just think about Sasha Banks as an example. How many times did she hold a singles title before she actually successfully defended it?
She's only done that once.
Yeah. She's only had one reign where she actually defended it successfully.
Yep. The last time when she won the SmackDown Women's title, when she defended it against Bayley, she beat Bayley. And that was the first time in her career that she had successfully defended a championship.
Yeah.
Usually she won. Usually she lost the first title defense.
Yeah.
That she had after winning the title.
So think about that. Sasha's actually lost the championships more times than what she's actually successfully defended it. She's only had like 2 or 3 successful title defenses. Then she lost it to Bianca at WrestleMania, which we're always going to put that match over. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Just
you look at Sasha. Sasha's been on the main roster the same amount of time as Charlotte. They all came to the main roster at the same time. Sasha Banks is a 1-time NXT Women's Champion, 5-time Raw Women's Champion, and a 1-time SmackDown Women's Champion. So she's won 7 singles titles, 2 tag titles in 7 years. Charlotte is at 16 championships, counting the tag titles she won with Asuka in 7 years. And they wonder why, especially the singles titles. 15 women's 15 world titles in 7 years. It's like, and you wonder why she gets booed out of the building when she comes out.
And especially when lately her matches have been sloppy.
Yeah, her matches have been a mess. Her promos have been a mess. Her, just her work within a promo, the thing like the botch with the table.
Yeah.
The botch with her supposed to get her head smacked on the table and she braces and everything. And I'm not saying she should have just broke her nose or anything, but there's a way to make that look good. And she definitely did not make that look good. Her getting thrown off the top rope and she makes sure she lands on her feet and things like that. It's like, people just want her to go away for a while. I think that's where people have gotten. People were like that with Roman. Then Roman went away. Not, the circumstances sucked because of COVID and, his vulnerability to that. But Roman went away, came back as a heel, and the fans are loving it. Like, you can see in the arenas whenever he comes out, and he's supposed to be the Roman Reigns is the final boss on SmackDown. From the way he carries himself to the music to the promo work, he is the ultimate video game final boss. And the fans appreciate, I think, the work that he's put into this character. And
he's starting to get cheers.
He's starting to get cheers.
Yeah.
But he's still not leaning toward, he's not like, oh, I hear a few cheers, now I got to be good. No. He's still miserable and hateful. And fans are loving it because he's getting to do what we all knew he could do years ago, but Vince McMahon was just hell-bent on making sure he was a face.
And not only that, but I'd have a hard time trying to support anybody who says suffering succotash during a promo.
I know, and that's another thing. I just wish that they would stop with the scripted promos, stop with promo class and all this stuff. If the person can cut a promo, give them the bullet points and send them to the curtain.
Exactly.
I mean, for a perfect example, go back and watch CM Punk's promo from Dynamite last night.
Okay.
That was a masterclass in a promo to set up a match. And that's all it takes. You know, you look at The Rock, you look at Steve Austin, you look at Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, to an extent, Hulk Hogan. I mean, all of these guys, you know, CM Punk, you look at right now, you look at MJF, all of these guys are just, that's a promo. It's like, here is, I need you to sell this match. You look at the Horsemen, fantastic promos. Every one of those guys could wrestle and talk. Flair said that himself. He's like, and that is unheard of, to have a group of guys and all of them can wrestle and talk. The Horsemen talked you into the building before they ever laced their boots. They were fantastic promo guys. You've got fantastic promo guys in AEW. You've got Bryan Danielson. You've got John Moxley. And every one of them's different, you know, but you've got Danielson, you've got Moxley, you've got Adam Cole. Anybody who says Adam Cole can't cut a promo has apparently not paid attention throughout his career, because the guy is fantastic. You got Malachi Black. You've got, I mean, just so CM Punk, MJF, just so much promo talent.
And they got 3 guys who are also they're not even active wrestlers. All 3 of them are managers. But and we've already mentioned 2 of them, sort of. Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard.
Yeah.
And Jake Roberts.
Exactly. Yeah.
Jake Roberts, his promos, I mean, they would scare you. He was that good.
Okay. Even Dan Lambert from America's Top Team.
I want to punch him. I really do.
And that's his job. That he does his job. That's exactly what he wants you to do. And Tully Blanchard said it best. You have got to get people worked up enough. If you're a heel, you have got to get people worked up enough to where they are willing to leave their house, go pay for parking, pay for concession, pay for tickets, sit through some lesser matches to get to your match, to see you get your butt kicked. That is that is it. And there is not a better heel right now for that than MJF.
Yeah.
MJF makes you want to punch him in the face, but he makes you want to listen to every word he has to say.
Because he is that good.
He is that good. And the guy is 25 years old.
Yeah. I mean, he's got, you know, an entire career still ahead of him.
Yeah. He's got 20 years at least to go, if not longer. You look at wrestlers are wrestling longer these days than they did before.
Oh, and Jericho. We totally forgot about Jericho. Jericho still cuts a great promo.
Jericho's a great promo. Even up and coming guys. You look at Santana and Ortiz.
Yeah,
they have been on fire promo wise, and in ring work. They've always been great. I've watched them since they were LAX and Impact. But the last few weeks with this implosion of the inner circle, especially Santana, fantastic promo work. Eddie Kingston, brilliant.
Yeah,
brilliant promo stuff. Everything that comes out of Eddie Kingston's mouth, you feel that, and it's like, for me, that's the difference. I know I keep talking, but
no, you're fine.
the difference for me between WWE and AEW is I watch WWE. I like some of them. There's a lot of wrestlers that I like and respect, and I like their work. AEW, I get that chill. I get those goosebumps that I used to get when I was younger and watched pro wrestling. It's like the things that AEW is doing are just, it reminds me so much of old NWA, old Mid-South. It's like, it's that mentality with a 21st century twist on it. But it's like, it's that kind of thing that I'm so glad that AEW is around, because it keeps my love for pro wrestling alive, because I love wrestling, but I mean, there are times when WWE is hard to support and it's hard to watch.
Yeah, because I think WWE, I've kind of, fallen into the camp that I know I'm kind of behind the times a little bit. I don't even really watch. Well, for one thing, we're always doing a podcast on nights that Raw's on, but at the same time, I haven't even gone back to watch the replay. I'll go and look and go, Well, delete the last 3 weeks worth again,
Yeah.
off my DVR, because I can always catch my ups and downs, and plus I can always catch the highlights, because I know if they were to just say,
match.
yeah, it's the same matches, and if you just condensed it all down to just the wrestling, out of a 3-hour show, you might have 30 minutes tops of the wrestling.
Yeah, if you're lucky, you might get an hour. Like this past week on Raw, they had the women's gauntlet, which I heard was excellent. I still hadn't had a chance to watch it yet, but I've heard it was excellent. Rhea Ripley went like 45 minutes.
I do like their gauntlet matches. When they have those, I do like those.
But those are, I mean, that type of, compelling match is few and far between for them. Even their premium live events are very hit or miss. I mean, you had Crown Jewel, which was a really good show.
Yeah.
And then you had Day One, which I was not that impressed with.
Yeah.
You had the Royal Rumble, which in my opinion was terrible.
Yep.
And so now it's like, it used to be you could go into a WWE pay-per-view going, this is at the very least, it's going to be a good show. It's going to be a good, entertaining show. Now it's either this is going to be a good show. They're never great. Not anymore.
Not anymore. They haven't been in a while.
They haven't been in a long time. But so you're either going to go into it, is this going to be a good show, or am I going to be texting Steve?
I was going to say that.
Am I going to be texting Steve with a bunch of unfamily friendly content because they did something stupid again?
Yeah. I mean, and that's become like every pay-per-view. I'm like, I got the text on standby. It's like,
yeah,
all right, send. There it goes. They just did something stupid, and in the matches that they have, which have you watched the Naomi Charlotte match yet?
No, I haven't had a chance. I'm going to try to watch that and the gauntlet match tomorrow.
Okay, I need to watch the gauntlet match as well. You've got to watch Naomi and Charlotte, because that match was so good. And I was glad to see Naomi. Hopefully she's back in there getting a good push.
Yeah.
Because I know there for a little bit. I mean, she was the champion for a bit, and then they took it off of her, and then she got in trouble.
Yeah.
And is it Jimmy?
Yes.
Yeah. She and Jimmy kept, their pictures were always on like the wrestling version of TMZ. Like,
yeah, they kept getting in trouble, and then she got out of that, and then it's like, and she should be, honestly, she should be champion, because the crowd's into her.
Mm-hmm.
She's, she's got, she does pretty good on the mic.
Yeah.
She's an amazing athlete. And it's like, she's got everything that you would want, again, to represent your company. It's like my thing is the whole Charlotte Flair experiment. Okay, we've done that. Apparently we've done that 15 times now.
Yeah.
It's like, can somebody else get an opportunity? Can somebody not name Charlotte Flair or Ronda Rousey get that opportunity? Because we all know at WrestleMania, Ronda's going to beat Charlotte for the SmackDown Women's Championship.
Yeah, it's like they're not even trying to kind of create a mystique about it.
None at all. Everything is like, Charlotte's the evil witch. Ronda's going to ride in, and save us from the evil witch, except she's an evil witch too. She's just the lesser of two evils. And it's like, we've seen this coming since she won the Rumble. So it's like, they don't even try to, like you said, they don't even try to make anything a mystery anymore. It's like, my 3-year-old daughter could watch it and be like, oh, well, she's going to win. I mean, if they don't make it hard to figure out, there's no intrigue to it.
Intrigue. Thank you. That's what I was looking for earlier.
And other companies, you look at all these other companies from AEW, which is the solid number 2. You look at GCW. There's always intrigue in their matches. You never know who's going to show up. You don't know, and you really don't know what's going to happen. Like their world title matches, like Moxley defending against Nick Gage. Everybody expected Nick Gage to win the title back, but he didn't. Mox beat him clean and kept the title. And it's just things like that. It's like the intrigue is what keeps us as fans involved in the product. And if you strip that away, why are we watching?
And I think WWE, they're forgetting about the reaction of Goldberg and Brock Lesnar back, was it 2004 at Madison Square Garden?
Yeah.
Or 2005. Either way, the WrestleMania at Madison Square Garden, when both of them were.
It was 2004. Both of them were out the door.
Yeah.
The fans knew they were both out the door and just
booed them.
Booed them out of the building. I mean, and the match was terrible.
Yeah.
Because
they were both phoning it in.
Yeah. Neither guy tried because they knew they were leaving. And it's like, just get, as fans, all I want a wrestling company to do is truly entertain me and not treat me like an idiot. And I feel like WWE has no respect for their fans as far as their intelligence. And they just expect us to blindly accept everything that they give us.
And they've been doing that for the better part of 4 decades.
Yeah.
Because even the old aftermags, they used to say it almost every episode, every edition. Didn't matter which was the person illustrated, the wrestler, Inside of Wrestling, Sports Review Wrestling, Wrestling USA, Wrestling, whatever the year was.
Yeah.
They all said WWF, Vince McMahon. Well, they actually called out Vince McMahon at the time. So we should have known back then he was the owner. But
yeah,
they said they are constantly insulting the fans' intelligence. That's actually where I learned that phrase.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff I learned from wrestling. That's one of it. And the word blatant.
Yeah, but they really are. And it's like, you know, they've forgotten that without the fans, they would not be $1 billion company.
Right.
You know, if there's nobody in those seats, and, you know, nobody buying the tickets, nobody buying the merchandise, and nobody watching your program, then you'd be out of business. And so have a little more respect for your fans. And I feel like other wrestling companies try to give their fans what they want, not what they think the fans want. But I think they kind of listen to fan reaction and kind of go that way. WWE is like, oh, well, you like this person? Oh, well, no, we can't have that. So
and
we're going to punish this person because they got over, even though we told them that's what they were supposed to do. They didn't do it when we said they were supposed to do it. So now they're going to get punished.
I mean, and I get that in any kind of business, if you know something is stagnating, you do have to try new things. You say, okay, let's try that with the fans. But if the fans don't like it, you need to pull it back.
Exactly.
And they have done that in the past. They've actually tried something, and it's like, oh, that really doesn't appear to be working.
Well, I think about the WrestleMania 30 main event where Daniel Bryan got inserted into that main event. I mean, they were adamant it was going to be Randy Orton and Batista for the World Heavyweight title.
And nobody wanted to see that.
Nobody wanted to see that. Nobody wanted to see that. Well, that was another case also of Batista had just returned right before the Rumble, like a couple weeks before the Rumble. Yeah.
Won the Rumble. Yeah. Boo. And he walked in there a face. He walked out flipping everybody off, literally.
Well, yeah, because nobody wanted him to win because everybody wanted Daniel Bryan was everybody's guy.
Yeah.
That's who they wanted. And WWE were adamant that they weren't going to do it. And then until they figured out we cannot have the fans literally revolting at our WrestleMania main event. So we're gonna have to buckle down and put Daniel Bryan in this match, which saved the match. The match was excellent because Daniel Bryan was in it.
And that was his second match of the night.
Yep.
And because he made Triple H tap, and then he made Batista tap.
Yep. He had a great match with Triple H to open it, and then tapped out Batista to end it. And honestly, those two matches are the only thing that I would ever go back and watch on WrestleMania 30. Everything else is pretty much forgettable because Bray Wyatt got squashed,
Yep.
which Bray Wyatt should have won his match,
Well,
I believe.
That one I wouldn't want to say necessarily a squash. He did get beat, but it wasn't necessarily a squash.
It wasn't a squash, but it was one of those things where he should have won that.
He still should have won.
He should have won that match because, you know, that would have been the perfect time to build upon everything that they had put into Bray Wyatt. He had put into Bray Wyatt.
God, that was such a wasted opportunity they had.
But no, they feed him to John Cena and have Cena win. You know, of course, that's also Brock Lesnar breaks the streak.
Never should have happened. That's my opinion, but
I get breaking the streak.
It should have been that night, though.
Well, it shouldn't have been. Maybe it shouldn't have been that night. I do understand them having Brock do it because it would not have benefited anybody else because the fans would not have accepted anybody else breaking the streak.
Except for Daniel Bryan. They could have actually done that.
Yeah.
I think.
Brock was already hated, so
Yeah.
he didn't, and he doesn't care. So he could deal with the nuclear heat that came from that. But that should have been, something to give a rub or pass the torch to the next big star. But the fans just love the streak so much, myself included, that the fans would have just buried anybody who broke it. So Brock was the only logical choice to do that. But the match was a mess because the Undertaker got a concussion early on.
Yeah.
So there was that. And I don't remember a whole lot else from WrestleMania 30.
Let's see. Hogan called it the Silver Dome a couple times, even though they were in New Orleans. Yeah, I don't remember much either.
Yeah, I remember John Cena and Bray Wyatt, Undertaker and Brock Lesnar, and the two Daniel Bryan matches.
Now I'm gonna have to go look and see what was on that card because, and I do remember thinking. I mean, when I watched it, it wasn't. Oh, Cesaro won the Battle Royal. Where's that? Oh, there we go. All right, going on the Wikipedia. Okay, results. Dark match, the Usos for Fatal 4-Way for the WWE Tag Team Championship. Daniel Bryan got that one. The Shield defeated Kane and the New Age Outlaws. A forgettable match, had no reason. Cesaro Battle Royal. Actually, you know what? There weren't a whole lot of matches on here.
No.
8 matches, including the dark match. And no wonder we didn't remember much because there wasn't much to remember. Because AJ Lee defeated a whole lot of other women for the Vicky Guerrero Invitational match for the WWE Divas Championship, which within a year it was no longer, or maybe 2 years, was no longer the Divas Championship, which kind of leads us full circle and back to what we were talking about them bringing the Divas. They're bringing back all this old stuff. They're thinking, well, we had a formula and it worked because who is backstage now as an agent again?
John Laurinaitis.
Yep, the man who loved the Divas.
Yep. And if you notice, it's going back to, instead of what the women can do in the ring, it's going by looks. And it's like that does such a disservice to these women who have perfected their craft and are just as good in the ring as any man you would put in there. But it's because they're a woman and because certain people are in power. It's, oh, well, we're more concerned about what you look like than what you can do in the ring.
I know this is kind of a weird comparison, but I mean, I always make kind of a movie analogy. You ever seen the movie Stuck on You?
Mm-hmm.
And do you remember when the old agent, I mean, I say old because he was an older man by this point, and he's negotiating for, Matt Damon and Greg Kinnear.
Yeah.
And he said, I want the same deal that so-and-so got. And they're like, you mean $100 an episode? And da-da-da. He's like, yeah. I'm like, wow. And they're trying to go back to those kind of formulas when people were tired of seeing divas. I've never thought of the word diva as anything endearing. To me, it's always been an insult.
Yeah.
Anytime you call somebody a diva, you would probably insult me saying, oh, you think you're better than everybody. You think you
Mhm.
don't have to, certain things don't apply to you. Okay, diva, everything revolves around you, diva. And so when they went to calling it the women's championship, and that wasn't just Stephanie McMahon thing. I mean, she was about, look, I mean.
But I think that was more for PR than it was her actually caring about the women's division. I think she just saw an opportunity. It was like, because, that was around the time where, women's sports in general just exploded and was really in the spotlight. And I feel like Stephanie was like, oh, well, this is hot right now. We've got to jump on this and push this. I mean, they did the all women's pay-per-view one time, and then they haven't done one since. That to me, that should be an annual thing, but their philosophy is women's wrestling doesn't sell.
And the women's pay-per-view, I don't remember the actual name of it. I remember it was in the fall or whatever year it was.
Evolution.
Was it Evolution? Was it? I mean, that sounds like a perfect name for it. And I guess it didn't sell out like the live audience, there in person, because the matches, when they showed it, they actually did not have the bright lights. They actually turned the lights down some.
Yeah.
So that makes me wonder, did y'all do enough to promote this?
No, they did not. I can tell you that just from watching the program leading up to that. They did not promote it like they would promote the Royal Rumble or Survivor Series or even a B pay-per-view, even a Hell in the Cell. Hell in the Cell gets promoted more than the Evolution pay-per-view did. And I just feel like that it's another one of those things like when they gave us Big E as the WWE champion or Kofi as the WWE champion. It's like, okay, we gave you this. Now shut up. We're going back to the status quo. And I feel like that's
because we want Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. I feel like that's what they did with the Evolution pay-per-view is, we gave you what you asked for. Now shut up. We're going to go back. Because if you even notice, Ronda Rousey was still the focal point of that pay-per-view. She got the main event match. And it's like her and Nikki Bella got the main event match. And it's like, are you kidding me? It's like, really,
I've never been that impressed by the Bella Twins. Like, just not horrible. I mean, they're not horrible, but they're not.
Of all the great matches that were on that pay-per-view, Becky and Charlotte should have main evented that pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Because their feud was red hot at the moment. But it's like, oh no, we've got to make sure Ronda is the focal point of the women's division. And it's like, again, it's like, you do know she's a rookie, right? You do realize that. You do realize she is not, as the Undertaker would say, she's had, there are women that have had more shower time than she's had ring time.
Yeah. And I think part of the issue, and just not curtailing me as well with the WWE, they are catering towards the casual fan.
Yep. And if you look at every other wrestling company, they cater to the hardcore wrestling fans. They cater to the die-hard wrestling fans like you and I. They cater to us. WWE is more concerned with, like you said, with the casual fan. And the casual fan is not going to sustain your business because they're only going to be there for certain periods. Like the casual fan is only going to be there from January to April during WrestleMania season.
Yep.
Once WrestleMania is over, they're gone until next January when the Royal Rumble comes around again.
Yep. And
so there's all that business is gone from, right after WrestleMania until the next January. And then you've alienated your hardcore fans trying to pull in the casual fan.
Maybe one day they'll start listening to us.
They should. If they
between us and Jay and Trey.
Yeah, between us and Jay and Trey, just listen to us, and your product will be better.
Yeah,
it just would.
I mean, I think when did you just try? Oh, I better not say this too loud because somebody may take me up on it. When did you just start our own wrestling company? But from what I heard, running a wrestling company is not as
I bet.
yeah, I've heard it's not as fun as what it appears, because
Oh,
there's a
I
whole
can
lot
imagine.
of stuff. But maybe we should be booking for somebody,
Yeah.
So we will get it back to actual wrestling back in the days here, because I'm pretty sure the first time you bought a magazine and all of a sudden you're reading about these wrestlers, you had no idea who they were. And,
Oh, yeah.
it's like, what do you mean there's a Portland? There's a territory in Portland? And things like that. But it made you want to read more and more. And I didn't have a guide to tell me who these things were.
Mm-hmm.
Because, we started as casual fans and grew from there.
Yeah.
And WWE, they're still.
Yeah, everybody starts as a casual fan. You catch it on TV.
At least a curious fan.
Yeah, and you catch it on TV and you're like, oh, okay, what's this? But then for us, it's like, and millions of other wrestling fans, we've stayed fans. And it's just that love for it has just grown and grown. And it's like, I appreciate these companies that appreciate their fans. I feel like WWE does not appreciate their fans, because they look at it like, well, we're going to make money in spite of you. And that's the important thing. So we're not really concerned about whether or not you like our product. And that's the problem too, because they're not concerned with whether or not we like the product, because they know people are going to watch it anyway, and they're going to make their money. So they're going to put in the least amount of work possible, because why do they have to? People are still going to tune in every week, and we're still going to make our millions of dollars.
Yep. So, well, we'll see what happens this weekend with Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully it'll be a good show.
Yeah, because Saturday is definitely a wrestling day for me, because I got watching that during the day, then going to go watch the NWF here in Mount Orb that night. So
yeah, I plan on watching Elimination Chamber live, but if we end up having something to do, I'll catch it that night on the replay. Yeah. But either way, I plan on watching it Saturday, either live or.
I'm pretty sure we'll both send out a text, with not very friendly language on it.
Oh, I'm sure. Point. Yeah. You may get mine late depending on when I watch it, but yeah, I'm sure something's going to happen and I'm not going to be happy with it.
Yeah, I'll wake up and I'll hear my text tone go off, which, by the way, my text tone is the beginning of Megadeth, Almost Honest. Let me find it, for the people out there who may not be familiar with it. And I've had that actually as my main text tone for years. And a couple people actually, like Tawana, my wife, she actually has her own text tone. And so does Avery, and so does Leighton. But everybody else, you get the normal one, but I still like it. And daggone it, where is there it is, sounds. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard it.
Okay, yeah, so yeah, it's just perfect. And then we're starting to talk about like ringtones now. My regular ringtone, I used to have it as Bobby Roode's theme song, the Glorious.
Yeah,
I used to have it like as that, but then one day I changed it to Iron Maiden.
I hear it.
Yeah.
My current ringtone is Roman Reigns theme.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
And my text message tone is Jarvis from Iron Man. It says, "Excuse me, there's a message for you."
Oh. I wish I could find the one from Monty Python and the Holy Grail when the arrow hits him in the chest. Message for you, sir.
Yeah.
Because I had that as my email tone at my work computer back a long time ago. Mm-hmm. That was on a classified system too, so I'm trying to figure out who put that on there.
Yeah.
But anyway, so like I said, I'll be prepared if all of a sudden I hear Megadeth at like 1 o'clock in the morning my time, I'd be like, oh, Dwayne must have just texted me.
Yep.
So,
yep.
Then I'll go back to sleep unless the dog needs to go out. But hopefully we get everything good for Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that show.
Yeah, I need to get my questions ready. I may have you look over first, just make sure I don't say anything stupid, you know. I mean, and obviously not that I would intend to say anything stupid, but, you know, because I actually do try to be very cognizant about what I'm saying, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, but we only have one more person. He's not obviously not a holdout. We just haven't heard from him as far as, you know, but I should see him Saturday. So maybe I get a chance to talk to him.
Okay.
So we got the date, and plus everybody needs to confirm that time. So, but hopefully, you know, we can probably send us some messages like, the other person after we get off here, if you want to send out a message saying, hey, we need, you know, 3 o'clock. Does that work for everybody? You know, or 3 o'clock Eastern time. Does that work for everybody? So, because I get Sundays, I mean, you know, that's what they usually, you know, people plan to do with families and things like that. So, so I get if they need to push it later, go for it. So, but either way, I'll definitely be talking to you Sunday. You know, even if we only get 3 out of 4.
Yep.
You know, so I think it'll still be a good show. So because I mean, all 4 are pretty solid. So even if you missed one, it would still be a good show.
Yeah.
So, but until then, God bless.
All right. God bless.